is Ryan and Michelle, and welcome to the Celebrate Marriage Cast, where we hope to restore and reclaim godly marriages through honest and real conversations.
Welcome to episode 9. We're Michelle and Ryan, and it's great to be with you here today. Today, we are talking gratitude, and we're going to get pretty vulnerable, just sharing some stories of some pretty big things that happened over the last year in our life, and just obstacles that we overcame and how we were able to see gratitude through it all. But first, Ryan, guess what?
What?
We, 9 episodes in, we have our first written review on Apple Podcasts.
Nice.
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, first, 5 stars. 5-star review from Rachel VS. It says, "Listen now. I love this podcast. Michelle and Ryan have such fun personalities. You can tell they are genuine and do their research before each episode. From the transparency of Ryan and Michelle's own stories to the practical advice they give, this podcast is full of necessary reminders for married couples and those considering marriage in the future. I found myself challenged and look forward to implementing date ideas and new ways to connect with my husband. Highly recommend."
Oh, that's great.
That was a really good review.
That's really good.
She said we have fun personalities too.
Yeah.
That was nice.
That's
Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rachel VS.
That's great. That's great. So, Michelle, Chris had received an email.
Okay. Chris is our marriage and family pastor here at Celebrate Church.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you want to hear it?
I do. Do you have it?
I do. Yeah. From Kara. She said, "What a wonderful podcast Ryan and Michelle did with Focus on the Family's Bob Paul. Please let them know how grateful we are that they're using the gifts God gave them to help strengthen other marriages. And also happy 12 years.
Aw, thank you, Kara.
Yeah, that's nice.
Thank you so much. And another thing, we actually did a promo. Do you remember the promotion we did end of October?
Yeah.
Ryan, end of October, early November. We had done a fun promotion. It was announced during a 5-Minute Friday based on Ted Cunningham's book, I Love That Laughs. I believe the episode was called Finding Your Backup Singers. And we had a contest, post about the podcast, tag us, or email the church. There was an email that went out as well. And we have 2 winner gift sets to give away. They're each going to get 1 signed book from Ted Cunningham and a $10 Starbucks gift card, and which help with a little date night with their spouse, or a double date as you find your backup singers. And I have those.
Oh,
fresh
winners.
Drawing alert.
All right.
Do you want to hear them?
Yeah, let's do it.
So congratulations to Kenny Gillis and Donna Lager. So yay.
Yay, congrats.
Thank you for entering our contest, and we will be getting in touch with you about getting your prize packs.
That's so cool.
How exciting, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I love giving stuff away.
That's
getting into
awesome.
the Christmas spirit already.
Absolutely. So as we're coming into Thanksgiving, as we're coming into the holidays here, in our family, the holidays are really a great time of reflection. And it's a time of reflecting back on the time, reflecting back on the last year, and really to be grateful. You know, it's what we want to talk about today is gratitude and the idea of looking at the past year and how do you cultivate an attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
And really going to break this down into 2 really pretty easy things. It's not like this is really big, like, whoa, that's incredible.
But deep and powerful.
But deep and powerful. Absolutely. The first thing that we really want to just kind of touch on is our thoughts. Our thoughts are so powerful. I'm going to read a couple scriptures that I think dive into the power of these thoughts. One is Philippians 4:8. It says, "Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think on these things."
I love that scripture. I love that verse.
Yeah, it
So
just
good.
talks about thoughts, like think on those things. I love that.
It doesn't say think on, the negative and dwell on that. It
Right.
says think on what's positive.
Yeah.
Dwell on that.
Yeah. And then I also want to read 2 Corinthians 10:5. "We destroy every proud obstacle that keeps people from knowing God. We capture their rebellious thoughts and teach them to obey Christ." This is really where we talk about taking thoughts captive. You know, where you are just doing that. You're
Sure.
taking them captive. You're again thinking.
Sure.
And what are you thinking about?
Sure. So it doesn't mean that you're not going to have negative things creep in, but it's taking that thought captive
Right.
and then switching it.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of going back to those scriptures, that if we focus on those things that are good, that are humble, pure, here's some words, some words of wisdom that I want to share with you.
Wisdom from Ryan.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if it's that, but okay. So whatever you think about, you'll be about. I think so much of that is true in our relationships, in our lives, those things that we think about. If you're constantly worried, you will constantly think about fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whatever you think about, you're going to be about.
Yeah.
And I think that comes true too with your relationships, with your spouse. Because I can tell you, if you look at your spouse in a negative way, if you just say it, we've talked about this in the past, even jokingly. Oh, my spouse is so annoying. I guarantee you are going to find every annoying thing possible that your spouse does.
Sure, your brain's going to look for evidence to support that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because that's what you're focused on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whatever you focus on, it's going to just keep replaying. It's going to keep building.
Yeah. Ryan, did you come up with that saying?
I think so.
That's really good. We might
Maybe
need to get
not. I don't know.
I feel like we need like a t-shirt or something.
Yeah.
Whatever you think about, you will be about.
I'm going to get a t-shirt.
But I like it when you said it. Can you say it again?
Whatever you think about, you'll be about.
That is good. Yeah. That's so good. I think
Trademark that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we should. We'll have the legal team draft that up. Actually, we don't have one.
No, we don't.
So, Ryan, I think that, we talked about this and sharing a story of our last year. And a few months back, do you want to share kind of your thought process a few months back and kind of the conversation we had?
Yeah, we were having a conversation probably 2 months ago.
Probably.
I don't know, sure. somewhere around there. Anyway, and I had this brief moment of just, I looked at Michelle and I said, man, this has really been a tough last year for me.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of things that have happened, and I looked at everything that had happened and was just kind of feeling like, oh man.
I think you had said like it's been kind of a bad year.
It's been a bad year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we had a conversation, about just flipping that perspective. So this time 1 year ago, a little longer than 1 year ago, Ryan and I play on a soccer league. Yes, we're grown adults and we play soccer and it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's year round, pretty much. We play outside in summer, indoors in the winter. We love it. Ryan's an amazing player. And it was the last game of our outdoor season. He went to take a shot on goal and had extended his leg out for the shot, kicking the ball. And at the same time, I mean, it's an adult co-ed league and, it's all varying skill levels. Ryan's really good. I'm, mediocre. And, it's just like there are some accidents and injuries that happen just from, people, it just happens when you mix all these different skill levels. And someone had come across, their cleat had landed on Ryan's leg. And I kid you not, from the sidelines, there was an audible breaking, snapping a bone that echoed across the field. Like people on the other side of the field heard Ryan's leg break. Our kids were there. I think luckily our younger one, our son, was distracted at the time. I didn't really know, but really, really just crazy spiral of events. Our daughter had to drive her car in the field and it's just kind of a traumatic thing. Even the incident itself, going and getting him in the car and loading and anyway, so he broke his leg. He broke his tibia in two different spots, which is the weight-bearing bone of your leg. It's the big bone. And he was in a full leg cast. He was in a cast. But on the bright side of that, the doctor, the orthopedic surgeon, said you were the 1% of the population that probably doesn't actually need surgery. Like we can heal this on its own. So there you have like there's a message that's been done numerous times here at Celebrate. It's like this good, bad, and you look at this like what really is good, what really is bad in the big picture. Sometimes we won't know for years, how everything is going to tie together. God can use these broken pieces, but in that incident, so he broke his leg, bad. Oh, he's the 1% that doesn't need surgery, good. But you're gonna have to be in a full leg cast. For our listeners, I want you to really think about this. We're talking toe to thigh, permanent hard cast. Like, just to paint a picture, Ryan had to ride in the trunk of our car because he could not fit sideways in the back seat. He had to ride in the trunk if we were going to travel with the family because there wasn't enough room for our children, car seats, all that. He had to ride in our trunk, people. I was up front. He was in the trunk.
It's like the family dog back there.
Put down a mat for you. Okay,
Right.
Ryan, get in. It was just a spectacle. He had crutches and casts and all this stuff. I had earned a trip through my company, like an all expenses paid trip, somewhere warm, and it was going to be amazing. So he's in this cast. We get all the clearances through the airlines, the ADA, all of this stuff, and we're set to go. And the night before, we're supposed to board the plane at 5 the next morning. The evening before, this is, a few weeks into having his cast, he starts feeling really, really awful. And because we were supposed to fly out the next morning, we were like, we probably should go in. Yeah. And essentially this is so silly looking back because we were like, let's just go get this taken care of so we can, carry on with our trip.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. We went in and Ryan was diagnosed with pulmonary embolisms, a word I'd never heard before and never care to hear again. But essentially they are blood clots that have moved up to your lungs. And they can be fatal.
Yeah.
They can be fatal. And he had numerous clots that had moved. And so here we are. We are in the ER. And it is the night before we're supposed to fly out. It was going to be this big celebration for hard work in my business. It was going to be our anniversary trip for the year. It was our golden anniversary, 11 years last year. We got married 11/11/11, so it was 11-year anniversary. And that was not the case, so then it was like, now we're not going on the trip and now we're just trying to keep Ryan, trying to keep him alive.
Yeah.
And, got you on some stuff to help thin your blood and dissolve the clots. And, we were sent home that night and there's this medication that, they now just send you home with it and it miraculously dissolves the clots. But then for the next few weeks, I think we were waking up every hour on the hour, every 2 hours I had an oxygen thing I was putting on Ryan's finger, is my husband still breathing, and checking him during the night, just this really traumatic time of being caregiver, being nurse at home, being scared that, I'd check you and I wouldn't have checked you soon enough in the night and something would have happened. And so we went through this really, really hard time. Ryan wasn't able to play sports for close to half a year. That is your outlet. That is your excitement. It was really hard for our kids. So all that to say that it was hard and it sucked. And I'm sure that our listeners, you have had something similar going on, whether it's been your health or your marriage or something traumatic and heavy that you're going through. But when I said to Ryan, hey, it's not been a bad year, because think of it. We had so many amazing things happen during that. We were in this season of, we were in a small group and it just had kind of fallen apart. We weren't meeting a lot. And there had been some conversations about just this feeling of loneliness. We had said, prior to this broken leg, gosh, we just feel like people are so busy and what's happening to our core group? Where are our people? And what I realized through that was they're still there.
Yeah.
They showed up in droves, our neighbors, our friends, our life group, our church family. So many people came and just all of these, questions that we had prior, do we have people? they showed up and I remember standing at the door just crying as people would bring groceries and flowers and oh my gosh, is the reality that people are busy? Yeah. But is the reality also that they still deeply care about us. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So through this really difficult time, I feel like we were able to look and see gratitude for so many things. So one, our core group showed up, like people showed up, even people, not even core group, just people. Lots of people, all sorts of people showed up. And that was really cup filling to know that we do have a community and we are loved.
Yeah.
Two, God's provision, to think about, he broke his leg, but he didn't have to have surgery. That was a win.
Yep.
Our surgeon pretty much told you, hey, we could do surgery, put a rod in, but it's possible. Actually, it's likely. All of my patients have knee pain for life.
Yeah.
You still are dealing with some feeling and neurological stuff, but you don't have rods or anything in your bone. That was a route we were fortunate to be able to take.
Right.
Not all people are able to do that. And then the provision of the trip. Did we lose this amazing trip? Yeah. But honestly, I think God used that to save your life. Like I don't know that we would have went in as urgently had we not had that flight.
Probably not. No.
So looking back to see, like, it's been a heck of a year.
Yeah.
But like going through that valley was also another refining moment. I feel like every single refining moment, like where you feel like you're walking through the fire, like that's how diamonds are made. It's like this ugly rock and you put it under all this pressure, and I think heat, but pressure, and it comes out a diamond.
Yeah.
So to have that, like, crying out on the floor, crying to Jesus moment, and then coming out the other side, like, God, you were with us.
Yeah.
You showed us our community. You showed us your provision, and you had us.
Yeah.
And I think that our family is stronger because of it too.
Yeah.
So looking at this really tough situation and seeing and having gratitude for it.
Yeah. And then it goes back to thoughts, because that, when you said that to me, I mean, it checked me pretty hard. And I was like, wait a minute. Okay. This was a brief moment of time, but that didn't make it a bad year. As you start to you think about it, and you think about all of the good things that happened.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you have to skip over. Things happen. I understand that. But I think it's also, as we look at your marriage, your relationships, like, what are you focusing on?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you focusing on everything that's wrong?
Yeah.
Because that's what will take over.
Yeah.
Or are you focusing on the things that are going well?
Right.
Or are you focusing on, maybe you have some great people around you. Maybe you have, like, God is working.
Yeah.
And it's a matter, I think, sometimes of if we want to see it.
Yeah.
And through all of this that happened, so many amazing things happened.
Yeah. I think I actually started my first ever gratitude journal during that time.
Yeah.
Because in the moment, it felt so heavy that I was like, God, I know, like, I can see that you're doing stuff, but like in this moment, in this day, in this hour, in this minute, I just need to really force myself to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there was so much.
But that's the power. That's the power of your thoughts. It's the power of what you think about. It's the power of taking those thoughts captive and say, okay, I know there's a lot of bad going on. I'm going to focus on the things that are going right, and I'm going to focus on that.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is then you start to see it more.
Sure.
When you start to see good happening, and the people that came, it's crazy on how quickly, like, oh, seems like more people came. Like, it's just because it's what you're looking for.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when you get a new car and you're like, I'm going to get this cool new car. And then you get it and you're like, oh my gosh, all of the city has this car. You see what you're looking for. Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So our thoughts are so powerful. Take those thoughts captive, focus on what is right. Going back to that scripture from Philippians, just focus on those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The second thing, really easy concept here, and this is, I mean, a little bit, it kind of sounds so simple, but it's a simple fact of being nice, using your manners.
Yeah.
Like, I think sometimes we get so, especially with our spouses in relationships, it's like, oh, we got to do this.
Sure.
It's like, I'll just try to be nice.
Sure.
Because being nice cultivates gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great rule to live by. I think of when our son was a toddler and we, it was like that toddler phase where maybe he was younger. I don't know, maybe he's 2 or something or 1. And he was like throwing things. And that was like one of the first words we taught him was nice. We would do like, Thomas, nice.
Yeah.
But like, it's such a good reminder. I think even like saying thank you. Right? Like acknowledging your spouse when they do something. You see them maybe shoveling the driveway. Say thank you. Getting the kids to sports practice. Say, hey, thanks for doing that tonight. And I want to say, I think it can be tempting to be like, well, they should just be doing that because I'm X, Y, and Z. Okay, yeah, like we should all be pulling our weight in the house. But think about just how encouraging that simple thank you is and acknowledging that. And I would say that 2 things would happen when you have that fostering of that attitude of gratitude. I think it would foster, 1, more of your spouse doing that said behavior because what gets acknowledged gets repeated, right? Yeah. Think of how you parent your children. If you really want them to do something, you encourage that and you focus on it and you acknowledge that it gets repeated. When you give them that praise. And then 2, I think it does something in your own heart, kind of like what you're saying about Ryan, like what you look for, is what you find. So encouragement leads to gratitude and it serves both of you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a great point. Both of us, And I'm going to just go back to scripture again here. Romans 12:16 says to live in harmony with one another. Harmony. Mm. And I think so much of that, we just had an instant. Actually, last night it was really great because
I don't even remember last night.
It's all right. This is something. This is something though that I've been trying really hard to do. Is that when I see you doing something, of acknowledging it.
Yeah, you do.
And just saying thank you. Hey, thank you for doing this.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you did. Did I make dinner?
Yeah, I think so. And it was just like, hey, thanks a lot for doing this.
Yeah.
And I think that it goes so far. We just had another example of, Thomas and I were able to go to a basketball game this past few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And it was an amazing game, by the way. But I came home and I just said, thank you for letting us go.
Yeah.
And, I can probably hear some people like, oh, I don't need permission, blah, 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 blah. It's not about that. It's about, saying thank you because, obviously, like it put extra pressure on you. You had to do, other things that, and it's not about that. It's just about saying, hey, thank you for taking care of this stuff while we were gone.
Yeah.
Thank you for lining things up for, it's just about basic manners and just saying thank you, saying please, it's as simple as that.
Yeah. 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 I appreciate that. Yeah. Cause there was some stuff I had to do to arrange to get our son out of school early and just make some plans. And, you said that and I was kind of like, well, but I do appreciate that you said thank you. Like, I don't think anyone's going to turn down a thank you.
No, absolutely not.
So, yeah, that's
absolutely
great.
Not.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, do you want to recap those 2 points for our listeners?
So, as we go into the holidays here, as we go into Thanksgiving, really the idea of fostering this, cultivating this attitude of gratitude is your thoughts. We need to focus on the right things. We need to take those thoughts captive, and again, whatever you think about, you'll be about.
Merch coming soon. Just kidding. But seriously, it's so good.
Seriously.
Write that down.
I don't know.
If you're not driving, you should at least write that down so you can repeat it to someone else in your life because that's so good.
And if you're listening and you came up with that, sorry. Good job to you though. It's stuck in my brain. So
right. Yeah.
That's good. And 2, just be nice. Say thank you. Say please. Because, as Michelle said, it serves both of you.
Yeah.
And it will create an atmosphere of gratitude of just saying thanks. because, Michelle, you said it. Like, nobody, like, oh, I don't want to hear thank you. Like, no, I just want to do my own stuff. Like, I mean, like,
right.
It means something.
Yeah.
So, again, your thoughts and be nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on the Celebrate Marriage Cast. If you would like further help or resources on marriage and family, visit us at celebrate.church/marriage. Make sure you subscribe. We'd love if you would share this episode with a friend, and we will be back on Black Friday.
Ooh.
So listen to us as you are shopping, and have a great week. Until then, and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.